Everything I do stems from my simple ability to do this. Problem is, I'm old and my shit's all busted up. I know, I can hear plenty out there saying 49's not old. You need to stop whining. Yeah, it's not. And honestly, I don't feel old. But I'm going to tell you right now, after having a foot-long scar across my L5 that left me with half of my feeling missing, and having my knee completely rebuilt because it bent sideways when I jumped out of the back of a 7-ton, and on top of that, you know, all those years in the military and working construction and just beating the crap out of the body, it does require a bit of maintenance. So that's where this comes in. This is our routine that we do together. Now, obviously, I've taken little clips out of this, so you're seeing, you know, here you go, 10 seconds of doing that, another 10 seconds of doing this. But what we really do when we get into each of these positions is we will sit there for 15 to 30 seconds, depending on which pose it is, and we'll relax into it. It requires a lot of breathing. So what you'll want to do is you'll stretch to right to where it starts feeling painful. And then you breathe, and as you exhale, you try to go a little bit deeper. Now here's something cool for all you guys that are having problems stretching. A flexed muscle will stretch easier because it hijacks the pain response of the body, meaning stretch to capacity, get to the point where you can't, you know, go any farther, and then squeeze your muscles like you're posing, tighten them up, and see if you can't get a little bit farther. And that's the introduction to dynamic stretching. Now from there, what we'd want to do is introduce weights and actually turn it into a movement. But right now, all we're doing is just focusing on mostly yoga poses. We're having fun. So what is it we're focusing on? We're looking for lower back, knee, and ankle mobility. So all the stretches that we're doing here involves either the lower back, the hips, the piriformis, the rectus femoris, the glutes, the three of them. What is it, maximus, minimus, and medialis or something? I don't know. One of you guys can correct me. And then right here, what I'm doing is I'm working on ankle mobility. So basically, we're just sitting into it, and I'm practicing just getting up and down without using my hands. This is very hard for a lot of people, this would be really easy, especially for lighter people. When you start getting above 200 pounds and you have knee problems, it's going to be very difficult to get to this point. You know, I'm not using this video as like for any kind of purpose of instructing anybody. I'm using this video to show you what my wife and I do twice a week so that we can maintain decent flexibility. You know, you can say what you want, but there's not too many 50-year-olds that can do these things. You know, I mean, you see them online all the time. You can go on Instagram, you can go on Facebook, you can go on YouTube, and you see wonderful examples of awesome athletes doing amazing things that put both my wife and I to shame in every category. But look at your coworkers, look at your family, look at the people that are immediately surrounding you, and see there's just not too many of them that are keeping up with themselves. So it's a very, very, very small percentage as we get to this age that can continue to do these things. And that's the reason why we do them, because it requires constant maintenance. If I take just 1 week off, it is very hard to get back into it. And I find like it's more like 1 step forward, 2 steps back at this point. Like, you just can't fight entropy. There's no way around it. You're gonna get old. And it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what kind of surgery you have. It doesn't matter what kind of drugs you take. It doesn't matter how studious you are with your fitness regimen and your diet. At some point, death comes for us all. But the question is how many quality years can you get out of it? So for the price of, rolling around on a dirty floor once or twice a week, I'm willing to do that. And it's a fun activity that both my wife and I can do together. You know, she can't, I shouldn't say can't, doesn't really want to power lift. And that's fine. But both of us, no matter what our goals are, still need to have joint mobility. We still need to have flexibility. We still need to do, the things we do together. We rock climb, we go hiking, we take the dogs, we do a lot of camping, a lot of outdoor stuff, and a lot of that you have to be able to, you got to be able to move, and you need to be able to move well. Like, you're not going to see a guy with a walker go to like Iceberg Trail over at Red Rock and climb up into the canyon, even if he wants to see the waterfall at the end of it. No, you gotta be pretty limber to get up that. So we have about 15 poses we do before we start introducing weights. And this is what I call dynamic stretching. And at this point, we're going to do some of the same movements, but we're going to use resistance. And this is to build those muscles up. Before we're stretching them out, now we're actually focused on making them stronger. And I think the combination of the two is what you really need to bulletproof everything. I have a playlist. It's my physical therapy playlist. And it basically shows everything that I did from the point that I lost use of my leg back in 2020 all the way to being able to squat over 600 pounds. And I think it's awesome for anybody that's got lower back issues. They said 40% of Americans, 40, over the age of 40, so 40 over 40, 40% of Americans over the age of 40 have at least a grade 1 in spondylolisthesis in their L5 area, which is the small of the back. And that is caused by sitting too much with improper posture. So by doing nothing, just sitting all day, you can screw your back up. And what these are, this is the antidote to that, a body in motion. This is what you do to try to fix all that. You see, you guys, I show you my squats, I show you my deadlifts, and I show you all that stuff. These are the in-between movements that we do. This is what we do for tendon strength. This is what we do for ligaments. This is what we do for those support muscles to keep those joints moving properly. So you might ask, well, what kind of repetitions are we looking at when we're doing these? What kind of weights are we working with? I would say about 50% of what your capacity is what I usually go with. So let's say I can do this movement with 40 pounds. Well, I'm going to do reps with 20 pounds. And I'm going to stay in that 25 to 50 range. That's right. Really super high repetition, really super lightweight. The thing is for these, you have to be able to go past the pain that's caused by the lactic acid that builds up in your muscles, because you haven't reached failure when you've gotten to that point. It just feels like you reached failure because it hurts. So when you're doing these, you got to be able to fight through that uncomfortableness and get to that true muscle failure. If any of you guys are struggling with this stuff, join my Discord, hit me up on Instagram. I got you covered. I'll help you out. I'll pass on any knowledge I have, and my wife's available. We can do it together, people.